Unchainers. This is To Emerth, and you're listening to the Unchaining Me podcast. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Unchaining Me podcast. I am excited. This is a special episode because the day after tomorrow is Mother's Day. And I don't know about y'all, I'm excited to be celebrated. I'm excited to be recognized. My little girl, my 2.5-year-old, she gave me a little flower that she brought from her home care and a little bit of an art that she did with Happy Mother's Day on it, and I just felt so happy. I know she doesn't really know what she's saying, what she's handing to me. I know it's her home care lady doing this, not her, but every little bit of appreciation and love poured into us mothers goes a long way, and we deserve it every single day of the year. But we know that's not the case, doesn't work like that. We have been guilty of underappreciating our own mothers. So at least having this one day where the world just, well, America at least, I know UK have their own Mother's Day, comes to really appreciate and ponder and show in action how we all appreciate our mothers and how, our kids appreciate us. So I had to dedicate an episode to Mother's Day and talk about my favorite thing to talk about, which is a conscious mother. Well, consciousness is my favorite thing to talk about in general, but especially as mothers, as a mother, as a woman, we have so many opportunities to grow more and more conscious by the day. But, we throw this term around consciousness, woke. And some of us don't know exactly what it means. Some of us confuse it to mean something else, things that it doesn't really mean. So I wanted to just take a moment to draw a picture of the conscious mother, what I'd like to call a conscious mother. And I wanted us to talk about what that means, what she looks like, what she does, how she handles herself, and what she aspires to be. So that is what this episode is going to be about. But before I start, I have to acknowledge the elephant in the room, well, the pump in the room, because if anybody out there is a mom who has pumped before, you are probably getting triggered right now, like your traumatic memories are coming back. Because yes, this thing that you hear in the background, that thing is a breast pump. And some of you would be thinking, like, why on earth would you record while pumping? And you definitely are not mothers if you think that way. Or maybe you are mothers who are not yet conscious to those ways of thinking of, a little hint of judgment in there. But hey, we all need to multitask. One thing that we all have in common as mothers is that we have to be able to maximize how we use our time as much as possible. And that happened to be that day for me. I didn't have enough time to pump and then come record. It's Friday, and the kids are gonna come from school, and shit's gonna hit the fan. So I had to record while also pumping for my 4-month-old baby who is napping upstairs. So why am I not making an effort to cut the pump sound out or, do whatever to make sure it's not included? I also wanted to talk about, something that is so rampant in our community as community of mothers, and that is guilt. I wanted to make the point that here I am trying to record a podcast. I have clients. I'm back coaching clients in my coaching business. I am creating content for my podcast and also my pages online. I'm surviving as a person. I'm taking care of myself, taking some self-care moments. And motherhood takes the majority of my life, majority of my day. And I am doing my best. I know that I'm doing my best. I am making sure I pump whenever I can so I can breastfeed my baby for as long as possible. I have teenagers. I have 2 teens who are going through the motions and emotions, and a toddler who's going through her own emotions. And after all of that, doing all of this, I still have mother's guilt. I still judge myself for not doing, I don't even know what. When I really think about it, like, what do I expect myself to do? What do I expect myself to be? Who is my role model? What am I comparing myself to, and who? And to be honest, I don't have an answer for you. I don't have any person, any mom in mind that does all of this and more, and does it without complaining and with so much grace, and does it perfectly. And yet I try to be that person. I try to be that mom. So you can't go anywhere talking about motherhood without addressing this guilt. I think we should just say grace to this guilt every time we talk about motherhood. It's not going anywhere until we grow more and more and more and more conscious by the day to its voice, to its presence. And it doesn't always come in such a harsh voice like, look at you, you're not doing this, your child is too that, your child is not enough that, look at so-and-so's kids, look at so-and-so's mother, life, she has a career and she's doing it all and has it all. It doesn't always come in this judgmental, critical, harsh voice. At least it would be a bit, kind of easier to pick out the bully and maybe be more aware of it. Sometimes it's so subtle. Sometimes it almost comes as a friend, as so innocuous that you can't really expect it to be an inner voice criticizing or judging you. Sometimes it comes really in subtle ways. So I wanted to reach out into someone, a mother who is thinking she's not enough, she's not doing what she has to do, or she's not doing everything that her kids need or deserve. I guarantee you're being hard on yourself. I guarantee you're being hard on yourself. If you are, for starters, you're listening to this podcast, it means you're investing in yourself. You're investing time in yourself. You want to know something and do something better for you, to take care of you so you can become a better mom, a better human in your family, in your kids' lives. You're probably, you're maybe a single mother whom I think you deserve your own different Mother's Day for single mothers only. Mothers with partners don't qualify. I think we need that because there's a different layer of sacrifice and a different layer of consciousness that being a single mom requires, or almost forces you to be. So that's why I wanted to start with that. And that's why I'm not making any effort to hide what I'm doing. Hey, picture this. I'm in my studio, breast pump and all, my headset on, and I'm doing it, guys. Okay? I'm doing it. I'm showing up. I'm not perfect. This podcast is not going to be perfect. But at least I'm going to do it. I'm going to do something. I'm going to do something that makes me happy, that fulfills me, and that I know that's going to go out and bless somebody and make someone's day a bit better and sow into someone's life. And I also get to feed my baby later on some breast milk. So it's a win-win for me, and I choose to celebrate me, and I choose to say to Emerth, you're doing awesome. You're a great mom. So without further ado, let's go into the conscious mother. Let's meet her. What does she look like? Who is she? Well, let's just define consciousness first. What is consciousness? It's a term that's used everywhere. I love that term. But sometimes people may not know what they're talking about or what they're hearing. Well, just consciousness, or to be conscious, is to have knowledge or to be aware. That's it. It's simply that. Something that you didn't know. When you know, you become conscious of it. And that thing may be external. It could be some kind of knowledge. It could be some kind of, let's say you were not aware of race issues in America. And then, I don't know how you could not be aware of that. But let's just say, for example purposes, and you watch a video, you watch news, you read an article, and then you go, aha, this exists. That's what's going on. You've become conscious. You've become aware. So this is more for external things. But then also, and more importantly, what Unchaining Me is all about is the internal dialogues. It's the internal climate that's going on. Why we do some things, certain things that we do the way we do them. Why we have certain voices, certain emotions, certain reactions to things. So there's more of an awareness as it comes to our internal climate. So that's consciousness, is being aware of something or having knowledge of something. So who is a conscious mother? Well, scratch that out. Let's start with who is not a conscious mother, because I know us, I know me, we're going to probably use this definition and this discussion to tell ourselves that we're not conscious enough and then beat ourselves up about it. That's how strong this mother's guilt thing is. But you know what? Every single time it comes up, our ammo, our weapon is to be conscious of it. We have to be able to know that that is what just happened. That was me being hard on myself. That was the critical part of me speaking. That was mother's guilt playing on me, or playing its games on me. So that's consciousness. So let's talk about who she's not. A conscious mother is not perfect. She's not perfect. She's far from it. This is not about perfection. There is no way to do consciousness perfectly. There's no way, they say there's no way to meditate perfectly. There's no way to perfectly be aware of certain things, even if there are our own patterns. So she's not perfect. It doesn't mean she balances this and that. It doesn't mean she is doing her podcast pumping, scheduling her kids' soccer practices and games at the same time, and then going there and cooking them some vegetables and some starting some kind of extracurricular activity for them, or setting up some kind of activity at home for her toddlers. That's not her. She's not doing it all perfectly. She's not balancing it all perfectly. That's not who a conscious mother is. She's not a spiritual guru who does yoga and meditates and burns sage in her house. That's not her. That's not a conscious mother. That's not who we're talking about. She's not guilt and judgment free. She's not singing empowerment and hashtags and yay, women and mothers, we're all that. That's not her. Okay? A conscious mother is simply aware. A conscious mother is aware of her humanity. Now we're talking about who she actually is. She's aware of her humanity. She knows that before she ever became a mom, she was a human being, and she continues to be a human being, which means she's prone to err. She makes mistakes. She doesn't know certain things and how to do them. Yes, even mother things, even some things that a mother, in culture and community, we expect mothers to know. Like, oh, it's natural. You'll know it. You'll figure it out. No, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're not sure what to do. There were times when my 4-month-old, I had it really good with my older daughter, but with Rhea, with my 4-month-old baby, there were times when I just did not know what to do for her. And this is my 3rd time being a mom. My daughter was a very easy baby, and my son, I had him, there's an 11-year gap between him and my 2.5-year-old. So it almost felt like I became a mom anew, like brand new. So with Rhea, there were times when I just burst out crying because I didn't know what to do for her. She was fed, she was changed, she was, she burped, temperature was perfect, her crib was perfect. I did everything right. And she still cried hysterically. She still woke up when I put her down. 2 minutes, she would be up crying as if something is happening to her and I did not know what. So, you know what? We don't know it all. Even as mothers, we don't know it all. Even in that identity, we don't know it all. And that is okay. But you know what? We are aware of that. And that's what makes us conscious mothers, or that's what makes me a conscious mother. A conscious mother knows when to surrender. A conscious mother knows that in allowing or accepting things as they are, she creates a space for things to change, for her to have a different outlook, for her to come with renewed energy to problems in her life, in her kids' life, in the way she does things, in her relationship, many different ways, in her family connections. She surrenders to things. She doesn't fight with things. I have a whole episode dedicated to radical acceptance. Radical acceptance is not just something that a conscious mother needs and practices, but that's something I recommend for anybody who is at a fight with life, who's engaging with life from a place of negating it or forcing something. So a conscious mother surrenders. If there's not something that's easy and flowing and something that's requiring her to constantly be in a combative mode, a conscious mother will be aware of that tendency and makes a decision to surrender. Surrendering to what is, rather than being in a process of constantly trying to change, not just others, but where you are, that is what makes you a conscious mother. And that is what it means to be a conscious mother. When you are when you're aware of these things, right? When you're in the Unchaining Me journey, you might risk being so critical of yourself. And that's different. That's different from being aware. Surrendering is actually something that comes with awareness. Surrendering is something that creates the gap for you, that space for you, in order to be able to change something. So that's what a conscious mother is. A conscious mother is open to learning from her kids. That's a tough one, isn't it? But we're supposed to teach them, some of you might say. I can even picture some mothers with their hands on their waist, like, what are you talking about? Like neck going everywhere. Like, I'm the one who pushed her out. I'm the one who pushed him out. I'm going to tell her what to do. Because I said so is how that's going to go. I've spent a few more decades on this earth than her. So she better listen. That's the attitude we have, because that's the attitude that was modeled to us. Many of us, our mothers, for the most part, were not aware. We're not conscious. They didn't get the opportunity to even learn that they could be aware or conscious that your kids, wait for this, they actually grow you. Your kids are not here because they need you to grow them. Yeah, they depend on you for some things. They need a house. They kind of need some food. They kind of need a little bit of guidance because they don't really know what to do around here. So you're there to show them, to model for them how they're supposed to carry themselves as they're going around life. But you know what? They are the ones in charge of growing us. Every opportunity they bring, every challenge they bring to our lives is actually designed to strengthen us, to grow us. I have to look for it because I don't want to not say it right. I read on Instagram today a quote that made me just pause, and I related to it so much. It said, "Our soul prioritizes our growth, not our comfort." Our soul, all it wants to do is grow. That's its purpose, is to grow. It's not here to chill. It's not here to have a good time. And I can't think of a better example than motherhood that makes us so uncomfortable so that we can grow. Because it's your kids you're dealing with. That's what makes the discomfort so bad or so tough, so strong, is that you're not dealing with some friend that did you wrong that you can ghost. You're not dealing with an ex that you can block or some person who annoys you that you can manage to get away from. You're dealing with your kids. They are your blood and flesh. You carried them for 9 months. You went through all sorts of changes for them. Your body got disfigured for them. You spent sleepless nights for them. Your body went through horrific things to give them a good start in their lives. You let yourself go for them. You left your career, you left what you wanted to do, you stayed home to take care of them, or you dealt with so much guilt leaving them with someone else. You had to work extra hard, in the Western life, you are all of it for them. If you're a single mother, even more so. So you're thinking, they better learn from me. I'm the one who's in charge here. I'm the older one. But a conscious mother knows that that's from the ego. A conscious mother knows that whenever she approaches her kids from a place of superiority and dominance, it is her ego, not her soul speaking. And she recognizes the voice. She recognizes the emotions that get stirred up. Trust me when I tell you, it gets stirred up. Okay? Some of you may not have teenagers yet, and I will pop some popcorn, sit on my couch, and watch y'all figure it out, because by then my kids or my teenagers would be adoring me, because right now they don't. Let me just say it straight. Right now they think they know everything. They think they don't need me. They think I'm old school and outdated, and they're going through this judgmental stage of their development. Very treacherous for them, but very heartbreaking for a mother who is looking for connection from her teens. So I know this period will pass. It's a phase that they're going through, but I'm just telling you, it gets tough, all right? Your emotions get stirred up. You find yourself wanting to use some old cards that you have criticized your mom for using in the past. You want to use the blame card. You want to use the guilt card. Like, I did all of this for you. I am all of that for you. And you do this. You don't even want to spend time with me. You prefer your phone to speaking with me. You kind of want to play those things. And a conscious mother still does these things. Remember, she's not perfect, right? But she's conscious of them every day that passes, every energy she has to expend in order for her to not go through patterns, unhealthy patterns. She is better off every day. And that's what a conscious parent does. And you realize that these kids are here in order for us to grow. They're making us uncomfortable so we can grow. Because every situation is an opportunity for growth. I don't care if it's painful, if it's nerve-wracking, if it's uncomfortable, and especially when it's uncomfortable. No kind of growth is comfortable. If you're comfortable, you ain't growing. If you're chilling, if everything is plain and simple and good old business, then I bet you're not growing and your soul is not fulfilling its intention, its purpose on earth, which is to grow and strengthen you in many different areas. And motherhood is the number one, I mouthfully can say, identity or role that tests you and makes you uncomfortable in so many ways. But you know what that means? There's power at the other end of it. There's another thing I'm going to read you, another quote that I sent one of my clients today. What I know for sure, it says, I don't really know where this is from. I just took a screenshot from somebody's page, but it was not quoted. What I know for sure is that everything that has happened to you and is happening to you is also happening for you. Someone say amen. And in all those moments, you were building strength. Strength times strength equals power. What happened to you can also be your power. So a conscious mother knows this. A conscious mother knows that these little tests, and by no means they're little, are eventually going to turn themselves, transmute themselves into power. And it's worth it. And her kids are those agents, the agents of that power. And they do it by testing, by challenging us, by making us uncomfortable. So we learn from them. How many things can we learn from them? So many things. We probably learn more than we teach them, to be honest, because eventually they figure out the adult way. It's very easy to get domesticated and become a member of the modern world. It's very easy. All you got to do is just exist, and then things keep happening to you, and then you get domesticated on the way. But as kids, they teach us some things that are golden and raw because they haven't yet forgotten their true essence. What do they teach us? They teach us openness. Have you seen a child that's afraid to try? Like a child? Unless the world has been beaten into it, or if that child has not been domesticated. Have you seen a little baby afraid to crawl? Hesitant that it may not walk? Wondering if people judge him for crawling or her for staggering herself around the living room trying to walk? They're open to learn. That's why they say a childlike mentality is needed, is necessary for growth. Because they're open to learning and making mistakes and failing and trying again and keep trying again. A conscious mom knows that and actually respects her kids for that. I respect my 2-year-old so much. She is so present. And I look at her and I ask myself, where did I lose that? Where? Why? Why? And I try and find ways of keeping that for her as she grows older. Keeping that quality of presence she brings into everything she does. She could care less what else is happening. She's doing what's happening in the present moment. She's giving her sensations full attention. If she is pissed off, she is fully pissed off. She's there. She's present. I'm not saying she's perfect. And if she's in joy, she's also there fully. And I love that about that toddler. Oh my God. As much as she gets under my skin and tests me, she is actually my escape, my refuge. It's kind of funny, the kind of motherhood I'm going through right now. Many mothers can't say this because they have kids like a couple of years in between. They have, maybe 2-3 kids, a couple of years apart. And they go through the phases that their kids go through all at the same time. Like the toddler stage, they go through them like in 4 or 5 year increments. And so it's like the same thing. Older kids, they go through the same phase at the same time or around about the same time, and then teenager at the same time. But what I'm going through, dear sisters, is teens, toddlers, infant. So I kind of have a sampling to how to everything, the good, the bad, the ugly of all of these stages. So I'm at an advantage because I can draw these parallels from every phase that they're going through. One other advantage is that I know these stages end, these phases end. So I'm not holding on to each stage and crying like, just suffering it. I know these things evolve because I can see it. The other advantage that I have is I can see similarities in every stage. My teens are going through this individuation process. They're going through this, I got this, I don't need you, I'm on my own, I want to do things on my own. And you know what? My toddler's going through the same thing. It's just a different magnitude of it. She just has a different way of knowing it. And her independence is about different things, like pulling her pants up. But my teens want to do everything by themselves. They want to go out and spend a day with their friends and come back and expect me to not worry or wonder. But both of them, what they're saying is their soul wants to grow. Their soul wants to grow, and it does so by being uncomfortable. It knows, the soul knows that its priority is not comfort, it's growth. It's the ego that prioritizes comfort over growth. So a conscious mother is able to tell and to make sure she doesn't stand in the way of her kids' soul's growth, and recognizes that while they're doing their growth soul-wise, they're also poking her where it hurts so that her soul can grow too. You know, our soul continues to grow till our dying breath. It's not only in our 20s, it's not only in our teens or 30s or 40s or 50s. It continues. The learning process, the growing process, the unchaining process is lifelong. And a conscious mother knows that. She's aware. And every day she tries to grow more and more aware of that. If today an unconscious part of her was triggered and she reacted instead of responding from that unconscious part of her, she doesn't wallow in misery and tell herself she's the worst mom ever. She grows a bit more conscious about it for tomorrow, and then a bit more conscious about it for the day after. She may repeat mistakes, but each time there's an increment in growth and awareness that she allows herself to embody. And that's what a conscious mother is. A conscious mother does not aim to mold her kids. She models to them. That's who a conscious mother is. My kids, my son, specifically my biological son, has called me a hypocrite more often than I would like to admit. And my response to him calling me that is, you know what? I am. I truly am. I let him push me into self-reflection because there are things that I demand of him that he does not see me demand out of myself. There are expectations I have of him that he sees me not meeting my own expectations. And don't you love it? Don't you love it when someone calls you out and that someone is actually your child? Because your ego's like, oh, shush him up right now. Who do you think you are? I pay the bills around here. But a conscious mother, what she does is she recognizes that his soul has grown enough to notice her BS. Or let's make it more Unchaining Me friendly, right? His soul has grown enough to notice her inconsistencies, her potentials for growth. And she thanks him for it because no one else really can say it the way they can at the time that they can and have that effect. If it's an adult that says that to us, we probably are going to engage in a combat because we see it as, war. Hey, let's go to war. But when it's your little child, even if they're 14, they're still little. When it's them who says that, there is a way that makes you pay attention and show them that, empower them in that way. So I do that. I don't aim to mold them. Well, sometimes I do, but each time I do, I grow a little more conscious of those tendencies. And next time I try to do better. And that's what a conscious mother does. A conscious mother focuses on connecting to her kids. I am going through that phase with my teens right now. It feels like just a few weeks, they've become different. I notice it very palpably that they want their own thing. They want to go away and individuate and just be their own person emotionally. They're in their rooms a lot, and their gadgets a lot. Well, on their gadgets rather, a lot. And I yearn for that connection, and I communicated with them exactly in that way. I said to my son just last week, I love you and I miss you. I miss you. I know there are more exciting things than going to the park with me, even going bowling or the things that you used to enjoy. I know your phone seems a bit more exciting, a lot more exciting than me right now, but I miss you. I miss talking to you. I miss the ways you make me laugh. And I want to keep that. So being vulnerable and allowing connection with a teen who is mostly unavailable emotionally is a tough job, you guys. I would rather be vulnerable to, I don't know. I can't think of anything right now, but I'd rather be vulnerable to a mean adult. Who is a mean adult? You put in a name of a mean adult in your life, and I'd rather be vulnerable to that person than my own teen, because they can be mean. They can really be mean in a way that they're not even aware of it. So what's been helping me is just being honest and vulnerable with them, and making it clear that I don't aim to boss them around or to change them. I just want to connect with them. I want to know the different way that they're looking at life right now. I want to know it. I want to get to know it. I want to understand that language and speak it. The questions that they have, I want to answer it as much as I can. But I want to know. I want to connect. I want to know how it feels to be a teenage boy, and I don't have any reference to that. I don't know how that is. So I make that clear, and that's what consciousness is about too. I don't do traditional methods of discipline. I don't care what you say. I don't care what reasoning you bring to me. But if you raise your hand or a piece of stick or a rod to cause pain, inflict pain on another human's body, whether they are 2 or 10 or 20 or 40, they're still a human, right? With the integrity and sovereignty that a human being has. If you do that, it says more about you than anything that they've done to you or anything that you're trying to accomplish. There is no justifying physical punishment for me, period. And that is a big enemy of connection. You cannot hit a child or inflict pain on them, make them cry because you're more powerful. That's why you're doing it. If they were more muscular and taller and threatening more than you wouldn't have done that. You're basically using your, size and your age as reason to do that. And if you do that, there is a lot of unchaining for you to do. There's a lot of questioning your agreements that you've got to do. So consciousness is also about that. You got to ask yourself why you're doing the way you're doing, why you're doing things the way you're doing. Where does that come from? Who modeled this for you? Where were you told this was okay? Kids are not individuals for us to dominate. And a conscious mother knows that. A conscious mother, coming back to ourselves, these kids take over everything, right? A conscious mother knows that a mother is not the only thing that she is. A mother is one of the things that she is. But a mother has dreams. She is an individual. A mother has a purpose. Yes, her purpose could be, and should be really, caring for her kids and connecting with them and modeling what is worthy to them. But that doesn't mean that she doesn't have another purpose if she chooses to. Motherhood, parenting could be her purpose and could be her sole purpose too. That is a lot of work on its own. But she is allowed to have ambitions and dreams and plans and goals and wishes for herself. That has nothing to do with her being a mom. It's crazy that we have to teach that to each other. It's crazy that we have to remember to be conscious about those things. But we do, because it's very easy to forget them. This is what a conscious mother is for me. And it is the best journey of my life. The most demanding, the most uncomfortable. I've cried rivers for it because of it. I've, in sometimes, some moments, I've wished that it all goes away. There are times that I have thought about just walking out the door and never come back. I don't want to be a mom anymore. It's too hard. But I have never grown as a person, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally. I've never grown like I do through my journey of motherhood. And I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for these little souls that I get to model things to, that I get to learn things from. Things that I used to embody, but I forgot as I grew older. Joy, presence, gratitude, wonder, curiosity, learning spirit. I'm grateful for it all. And I want to remind you to do the same. Happy Mother's Day, Queens. Celebrate yourselves and keep unchaining. And don't forget to support by liking, rating, subscribing, and sharing with your family and friends. Thank you so much, and see you with the next episode.